for being our little business park here, we actually announce when we turn the car on because it's pretty loud. There's nothing that stops it from, there's no mufflers, nothing. Ready?
Go for it. So just to give you guys, I guess, some backstory. I saw this car back in a couple of years back, and at the time it was at Stan's workshop, but now they're, what did you say they call?
The Protomachine.
Protomachine. And so I kind of just ooh and ah on this car, and you guys know that I love E30s and E36s, so now I guess this is the owner. So how did you even come about owning this specific E36?
This specific E36 was kind of came to me as just a standard. Actually, won't be a standard. It was an LS swapped E36 from the East Coast, and the guy was just looking to sell it, and I was looking to get back into tracking, you know, and get back on the road course, and it presented itself as a decent deal at the time, and it was completely stock bodied, just had an LS swap in it, and from that, you know, just kind of started building it to what it is today. I didn't envision this. It was just completely unplanned. This is my ignorance because I like to be competitive, you know, and I will admit that this car has gotten a bit out of hand, and I need to break that pattern somehow.
I love it. I love it. So then, what was the vision for this car? I mean, obviously it went through different stages because, like you mentioned, you are very competitive. So tell us about this latest vision. Like, how did it come up to this?
Well, it all kind of started, you know, when I was doing a bit more racing. Time trials were in. Time Attack was getting bigger. This was when I guess the Japanese guys were way popular with their toge battles and stuff like that. That, you know, doing lap times and actually being fast and efficient was starting to become the thing on track. You know, people were actually starting to build a science behind why they did things and trying to have everything work with each other. So this car for me is efficiency. The reason why we like the LS swap is because, you know, not that I have disrespect for purists, but, you know, I had owned the second turbocharged E36 at the time, and back when I was building E36s in 96, 97, tuning the car was an issue. So I realized that, you know, if I wanted to be efficient, wanted to keep weight down, that we went with a potent V8 setup. And this, you know, this car did come with the LS. That's not the original LS1 that's in the motor. That is what you're looking at now is an LS2 that has been built to a 7.1 liter, essentially like an LS7 race motor. So it's dry sumped. It doesn't have the wet sump on it. It was built by Ryan Cunningham at BRC Raceworks, and this motor produces 730 crank horse on E85. That's about 6/13 of the wheels.
Is that enough?
In our class, you can always use more. But the car handles it pretty well. When you saw it at Protomachine, the boys, the artists, I like to call them metal artists, because they tube chassis the whole front end, the whole That's all steel that you're looking at. The whole front over here, this front part is all aluminum. They actually V-mounted the radiator.
Oh wow.
So they built the V-mount for the radiator. They built the scoop inside the bumper. With time attack, you know, if you remember seeing the front of the car, we try to maximize downforce. So we force the only air that comes from the front of the car to force itself through the radiator and out through the radiator escape duct here.
Shoot.
So we actually deleted all the brake cooling and all that stuff.
That's crazy. What type of suspension do you have in this car?
Suspension, we've got Moton 2-ways with Swiss springs and ground control camber plates. Yeah, it's controls the car pretty well. We still need to tune it more, but just been messing around. The suspension does exactly what we want it to do, and it actually controls and holds the horsepower pretty well. I guess what you see on the exterior here is kind of like a wide body on wide body. You know, what a lot of people don't realize is that we actually have like felony form flares that are on the car that have been blended in, and we needed additional width, so we added and customized a set of hard motorsport flares so that we can widen the track. We run 18 10.5s in the front, 18 by 12s in the rear, 295 front, 315 rear tires. And we, in the class we race in, we run into street tires.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And then the livery itself kind of takes homage to, I don't know if you guys remember, maybe ahead of your time, but there was a M1 Pro car. It was BASF sponsored, and it was actually red with white stripes. So we kind of took that retro livery and kind of made it our own.
Wow. It's just amazing. Wow.
And then some of the brakes here. The brakes are Sparta, 6-piston fronts, 4-piston rears. The wheels themselves are Advance. They're forged Advance, like I mentioned, 10.5 front, 12 rears.
Absolutely gorgeous. Just everything just feels perfect.
And our tires that we run, we're running with Nankang, so we're running their Nankang AR1s. So it's a pretty fast track tire. They're spec tire of Europe. So, you know, I actually run them on on E30 as well. The wrap itself is done by Rodney over at Evolve Filmworks. The arrow on the car, the front splitter, the rear wing was made by RS Future, Amir over there. Yep, fantastic guy. I guess name out some of the sponsors while we're here looking at the car. We've got Moton, we've got RS Future, JMP AutoWorks does a lot of the mechanical work on the car. We have some big things planned for the car.
Wait, so
yeah.
You got big thing? Oh.
Well, yeah, it's actually I want to say one more big thing. It kind of a last hurrah.
That's cool.
For time here. So, you know, we're going to be working with some people out in Europe so that we can make the shifting better, and you can make your assumptions from that. The body and paint done by King's also. King's Auto Body Shop. They're not too far away from here. Some other supporting vendors like Condor Speed Shop, Hard Motorsport, and I guess our Compound USA and Motorsport Hardware, Motorsport Fluids. Well, not really plans for the interior. What we have in here is Protomachine. They built the cage. So what our intention with the cage was to lighten the car and not run a lot of fancy bars that we didn't need. We wanted to make sure we could keep the weight down. And surprisingly, for what the car looks and the motor and stuff like that, it's actually about 2,700 pounds, 2,750. So that's lighter than I anticipated, which is great.
What?
Didn't expect it to be this light.
That's super light.
You can see here, this is part of our dry sump system. That's our oiling. So we have forced oiling. You can see we have, we could still fit a passenger in here if we felt like it, but we have our proper safety. The cage. We have our fire extinguisher set up, and just delete it as much as we can. We have our aim dash, and race seat, and the secondary fire. Deleted rear parcel, mounted the damper reservoirs in the back there.
Absolutely love the cage, the design they went with.
Yeah, the guys at Protomachine are fantastic.
They're artists. It's not really lead, obviously. Love the rear back side.
I guess this car just keeps chasing time. We do pretty well in the Time Attack series for rear-wheel drive, where the car performs amazingly well. People know it, they hear it on track, they know it's fast. It's for the past 3 years, I would say 2 years, we've podium come in second place in our class. I think if it was just a rear-wheel drive in our class, we probably would have been first last year, but we'll take what we can get. We run with Global Time Attack, and outside of that, we do a lot of testing with the car, and we just keep trying to prove the platform.
shit. Holy shit. You're wild. Fuck. So it's not stock, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, OE plus. That's what we're going for here.
Holy crap. Yes. Craziest E36 by far. Wow.